Okay guys, welcome back to part 2 of the Nikki 2-barrel carburetors used on Briggs & Stratton engines. If you've watched part 1, that's gone through all of the cleaning procedures, and so you'll need to watch that. They all clean the same way. So all those tips and tricks that I had mentioned in video 1 are what you'll need to work on the next 2 styles of carburetors that you see. So this one will be the next style carburetor, that downline, next newer carb used on the Briggs & Stratton twin-cylinder engines. This is a Nikki 2-barrel, and you'll see that it has a steel float bowl. It's the older one, and if you noticed before, I said I did grind down the wrench. It's thinner right here, it's thinner. And the reason for that is you'll need it to take off the solenoid on this particular carburetor, because it's a real narrow opening there. That's how you get that off. But I don't take this off when I start with the cleaning on this, and I'll show you why once we get inside. But just take out the screws, and the float bowl will come right off. And then if you look down inside the float bowl, I'll try to get that for you there. This is the particular carburetor that has an extension on it. This is an extension tube. And it just comes out of there. You just pull it out, pair of pliers. And it wedges onto that nut down in the bottom there. So if you see that nut, it's got a little square edge on it right there. And that's the reason why I don't try to take that off before I remove the float bowl. So all you need is a 1/2-inch wrench, and put that on the inside and hold it. Take another 1/2-inch wrench, spin it off, and you're good to go. This is the extension tube, and it essentially is the same as the other kit, except that this O-ring is a different size. That's the difference in the kit. So that O-ring goes there on reassembly. This fits in the top of that when the float bowl goes on. So the way that you do that is you just put your new O-ring on the top of that extension, put the extension inside, shove it over that little square nut, holds it in place, and then when you put it back on, everything just goes right back together and you tighten it up. So this is essentially the same as the other carburetor that you saw in part 1. It also has the jets in it, the 2 jets, and of course those 2 jets are different sizes as mentioned in part 1. And so if you look at that, the small jet number goes on the left, the big jet number goes on the right, and as we said before, you determine that by looking at the front of the carburetor there, and left and right's there. Get the stamped number off of here with a magnifying glass, put them back in where they belong. You're good to go on reassembly. The kit you're going to need for that carburetor is going to be this one right here. So you can read it there. 54833. 54833. What you get in that one is the same thing. You get the float bowl gasket, you get the fuel transfer tube extension O-ring, you get the jet O-rings, and you get the little gasket for the fuel tube that goes into the bottom of the carburetor. Okay, so this is the next oldest style carburetor, and it's completely different as far as the guts are concerned. That's the kit for it. 54834, 54834, and actually in this one you only get 3 gaskets. That's all you need to rebuild this carburetor. Get the float bowl gasket. You'll get the jet fuel tube brass connection that goes to the fuel tube. You'll get that O-ring, and then you'll get the little one that goes up against the base of the carburetor. But same thing, take the screws out first. You know, you know, don't try to disconnect the solenoid. take it out, take the screws out first, then just pop the float bowl off. You'll find down inside this one, see if you can see it in there, this is the connection that goes inside the fuel tube. So it fits inside there with the O-ring. And with that there, all you need to do, same thing, just put a wrench on the inside, and then your 1/2 inch wrench here will undo it. I have this one loosened up already because I want to show you what's going on in there. And remember that you can check this solenoid the same way that you did in the other video, just by simply plugging it back in over at the engine. This pigtail is just for demonstration purposes only. When you turn the key on and off, it's going to make this plunger go in and out right here. And if that doesn't move freely, you may be able to clean it up in there and get it to move freely. But if it doesn't, like I mentioned in the other video, you can get a new one of these, buy a new one, or you just take a pair of dikes, or whatever, cut it off if you don't care. Be fine. So this is what's in the bottom of that float bowl. So take a good look at that. Here's your jet here. And so you can clean that again with carb cleaner, and you can rod that out with a bag tie, clean it out like that, and spray it with carb cleaner. You'll be fine. That's where your new O-ring will slide on over the top of this, because that connects into there like that. So that's how that goes. So on reassembly, put this in first. Put that in the bottom of your bowl first, and then tighten your solenoid to the bottom of that. And once you get that all tightened up nice and snug, use your wrench here. A little wrench on the inside, it's nice and tight so that doesn't leak. Then when you put it back on, it'll just fit perfectly. It's all lined up, ready to go. So same thing that you would do to clean this carburetor, by pulling the float, by taking off the fuel tube, cleaning the brass tubes, again with a bag tie, carburetor cleaner, and then reassembling everything and putting it back together. But again, that's what you need. This is the other two kits that you need, 54833 and a 54834. That's for those two style carburetors right there. So that's pretty much what you have for this, and hopefully that will help you guys get these things put back together. I'll put links in the bottom of the video to where you can buy these kits. And again, if these screws are messed up like these screws are here, you can see that they're really in pretty bad shape. You can get, show it to you here, you can get these. These are stainless steel, and they come with a stainless steel washer. And this is a short screw, and that fits this style carburetor. There is a longer one that I sell for the other carburetor bowl, but if you've got a metal steel float bowl, then you need the short screw. If you have the aluminum float bowl, you need the long screw. But like I said, those are reasonably priced, I don't know, $3 or $4 on the website. So just to reiterate for you, these don't have a spring-loaded butterfly on them, so you don't have to worry about that. But when you take these screws out here, when you take these out, then the butterfly just comes off, shaft slides out. Again, this nozzle is the same on all three carburetors, and it takes the same gasket that we had mentioned on the other carburetors. And if you watched part 1, then you'll know all about how to clean it, how to take care of that, how to put it all back together. So I hope this helps you out.